So let's look at this example, which is a longer example, but I've just taken the probability options. So the given options. So we have a class of 29, 20 study French, 15 study Malay, and 8 study both languages, 2 study neither. So the Venn diagram has been done already. I assume you should know how to do this, especially that 12 plus 8 is 20, 8 plus 7 is 15, and adding them all up will give you 29. So we want the probability that a student studies Malay given that they study French. So as soon as you see given, this is your key that you have to use conditional probability. So for A, we need the probability that they study Malay given that they study French. And what you do with Venn diagram is you're restricting yourself. So I'm now looking at only the people that study French. So I'm restricting my area into this area. So these are the people that study French. This is my first condition. So I don't have a total of 29 students now. I have a total of 20 students that I'm looking at. So I'm ignoring the others. And out of those 20 students, how many of them study Malay? Well, it's only 8, because this 8 is also part of the Malay. So this is if you want to logically think about it. If you want to use the formula, then this is the number of things you have in the intersection of Malay and French divided by the number of elements you have in French. Remember, you take the second letter. So the number of elements I have in the intersection is 8, and the number of elements I have in F in total is 20. Obviously, do simplify your probabilities. So if I simplify this, it's going to give me a 2 over 5. So this was for the first one. I would encourage you to try the second one before I attempt to do it. So for the second one, you have the probability they study French, given that they study Malay. So in this case, we are restricting ourselves to the Malay region. Or we could use the formula. So F intersect M divided by M. So F intersect M is 8, and the number of elements in M is 15. So I can't simplify it any further. That's my answer. So again, looking at it, I'm only looking at those that are already studying Malay. So I have this many people studying Malay. And out of all of the 7 plus 8, only 8 of them study French as well. So I'm following through the conditions they've given me. And we have quite a worded one. So we have the condition that they study both languages, so they both have to be included, given that they study at least one of the languages. So quite wordy, but let's break it down a bit here. Just before I start with the probability, just remember that when I have intersection, it means both. So this is my AND rule, and when I have a union, it's an or either. So if I have the probability that they study both languages, so I'm looking at French and Malay, given that they study at least one of the languages. So it could be one, it could be the other, or it could be both. So we're looking at an or here, a condition, union. So F union M. And if we use the same rules as the probability, we know that this is the number of elements in the intersection of these two things. So it's going to be quite a big thing to write. F intersect M intersect F union M. So we're looking at a couple of areas to highlight, and then divided by whatever is in the next line. So if you're unsure about how to highlight areas in Venn diagrams, I would recommend watching a video on that. So I'm going to assume you have watched it, so I'm going to quickly do this. So I'm looking at the intersection, so I'm looking at where I could highlight twice. So I'm going to highlight F union M. So this is my F union M. So this whole thing. And then I'm going to highlight I'm going to highlight F intersect M, which is this area. And obviously the area I highlight twice. So this is where you highlight it twice. The area I highlighted twice is this area. So my numerator, and how many elements do I have inside? It's 8, so my numerator is going to be 8. And then the union is basically my green area, so 12 plus 8 plus 7, which is 27. And this doesn't simplify any further. So even though it looks complicated, just break it down into different parts. You should know how to do this. As I did with the previous questions, I'm going to show you how to do it without the formula, or to understand how it is without the formula. So because I'm looking at F union M, I'm looking at this area. I'm looking at this area. So I'm restricted to these numbers, and now I want to see from these numbers, so this is given that they said at least one language. Given these numbers, I want to see how many study both languages. So from this area, it's only 8 that study both languages. So it's 8 out of 27. So that's just to make sense of what we've done so far.